All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for either of these two Google searches. So we're back here at GBC Universe. We all know this. We're taking disappearing boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that in pinned video, home video, somewhere on this profile. And we care about FSIC because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white. Highest intent people on the left. Those are people searching, boudoir photo shoot in my city, searching that in social search and Google search. And over on the right, the lowest intent people, they ain't searching for boudoir right now, and basically all of them don't even know what boudoir is. So those are, pretty shows people interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram, things like that. So we're here on the left talking about BSS with the highest intent peeps here in this brand, and our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, is way over on the right. Talks about BLCS, and with that one, we're only currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. This means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots, terrible, because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. People, it's page 1 search and done. So we got to be on page 1. And 1 slot, no bueno either, because guess what? That means none of the boudoir photographers, 1 slot for each one. A buyer, we're not standing out at all. A buyer is simply going to click down, all 10, contact all 10, get price quote from all 10, negotiate, bring the price down, basically like suck out all that margin. And, we're going to be price shopped to death. So we cannot have this with our boudoir photography business. Now, even though 0-1 slots is bad, well, terrible actually, for the business, it's extremely common, but it's not normal. So it's accepted, but it's not normal. And it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, as people get new gear, new phone, new camera, throwing up their Google Maps profile, throwing up their website, posting in mom's group saying they do boudoir. So more sellers say member buyers, makes it harder for each seller. And then the false belief of page 1 equality. That's what boudoir photographers literally assuming, kind of every boudoir photographer gets like 0-1 slots on page 1 on Google. And, if they're on slot 8 on page 1, and some new boudoir photographers enter the market and they, their website got pushed onto page 2, which now we know is basically death, invisible. Then, people just simply kind of accept it. Be like, yeah, that's how it is. But it's a false belief because I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google with in only 10 days with this new strategy we developed, this new methodology. And so we know the false belief of page 1 quality is now false because we know that Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And we also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, because we got 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. We're either invisible to approximately 80% of searches if we're on page 2 or deeper, or we're getting price shopped to death if we only got 1 slot on page 1. And this boudoir photographer, dude, that's literally the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light flashing on our dashboard, where once that happens, eventually, the boudoir photography business is on a path of disappearing as well. But luckily, we got a solution because we now know that BSS is true with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And with S-cubed methodology, it works exactly like the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, highest intent buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of seeding what we're trying to do. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains where, the snow's melting. You got some small streams, small rivers, and then those all flow into the large Amazon River. The large Amazon River is page 1 of Google. And so we gotta start off strong with saturating social search though. So then get us on page one of Google. But the benefit is we're saturating social search, which means we're saturating page one of social search across all the social networks. Buyers are searching the highest. Boudoir buyers are searching the high intent buyer keywords there. So we're saturating literally 5 different kind of surfaces by utilizing S-cubed methodology. And this is the only strategy I've seen that actually allows boudoir photographers to maintain the business even in the face of market saturation and grow the business even in the face of market saturation in a relatively quick time frame to get these results page one on Google, which helps do all that. And the only other second option I've ever seen enable a business to grow in the face of massive market saturation is having a massive, strong brand. But dude, those take like 5 to 10 years to build. We ain't got 5 to 10 years because we're in AI, and AI is literally taking people's jobs. And so we ain't got time to build it, but we ain't got 5 to 10 years. So we got to be using S-cubed methodology. And when we do that, it's the highest chance our business will grow. And my estimate is it'll actually help build a brand 8x faster than normal, if executed every single day. So it's kind of like an accelerator to build a brand as well. So example for market saturation, imagine if we're in, let's say, Indianapolis, Indiana. There's 1 million boudoir photographers, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir. And we're like, all right, our only chance to compete here is if we crank up S-cubed methodology to the max, as many page one slots across social search and Google search as we can. So we do that, we rank for the first 300 slots for all the highest intent keywords for boudoir buyers in our city. And as a result, we actually, those flow, and let's say we get the first 300 slots on Google, which is extremely difficult to do. Let's say we accomplish that. So anytime boudoir buyers looking anywhere on social search or Google search for boudoir photo shoot in their city, then they basically only see us, even though there's literally 1 million competitors. And as a result, whose business is still growing in this market of 1 million boudoir photographers? Ours. And whose businesses is failing and disappearing? All the other 999,999 competitors, because we're taking up the highest intent Google search, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. So yeah, this is why I feel S-cubed methodology is so magical. Now, one street with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're kicking, our initial benefit is we have more slots page one on Google. Our second initial benefit is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Yeah, so now that we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2, or page 1 and done Google searches, we can make people, invisible to approximately 80% of the market by literally just kicking them off from page 1 to page 2 and making them disappear boudoir photographers. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where we have our GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google. Because when we can do that, we're definitely looking way better than everyone else who's probably going to have only 1 slot. And also, there's a very, very rare chance that someone will have 2 slots, the same search as us. So if we got 3 slots, we're dominating everyone. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 equality, or the false belief, page 1 equality. We now have the solution S-cubed methodology would become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And that's caused by us finally achieving page 1 visibility on our own. Now, I'm going to look at my results here from utilizing SQ methodology. I wanted to rank for this keyword VLCS Boudoir and take as many page one slots as Google as possible. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one of Google to, well, we'll count through how many now. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So I'm from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots, page one on Google in 10 days. So we're proving the false belief of page one inequality as exactly that, a false belief, because now we know Google actually give us as many page one slots on Google search as we want, or as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And Google PPC ain't doing that. Max they're giving us is one, I believe, one extra slot on page one, even if, there's extra inventory available, we're only getting one extra slot. And the momentum of those ads dies, that real estate dies once we stop paying for ads. SQ methodology has momentum to it. Not infinite momentum, but it has momentum to it where there's persistence of its existence. So now we're here to the main event, the main course. Gonna see if this boudoir photographer has BSS for either of these Google searches, so local search and a city search. So let's see. So first look in Gretna, Nebraska. And we got, all right, so we're going to the organic search. So we got one. Yeah, we got two. Well, we don't have the word boudoir here. So we don't count that. Slot 3 here, we got boudoir, that counts as 2. I think microphotography. Okay, we'll count the 2 without the boudoir, we'll count that as 1. So we got 3 out of 10 slots. Here we go. 4 out of 10 slots, here's a boudoir, here's a, and that has boudoir on it. And boudoir right there, 5. And then we got, and then let's see, looks like we got 6 here actually. So we got 6 out of 10 for local search. So this is super amazing. And all right, so local search is perfect. And now we're going to go to city search, Omaha, Nebraska. So we're going to go down to the organic. Let's see how many we got local search as well. First for the city search. See what we got. All right, we got nope. No. All right, so it looks like, all right, dude, we're literally pulling in 0 peeps from Omaha. So we literally got 0 out of 10. So we definitely got BSS for the second search, the city search. But so Gretna, no BSS. We actually hit the GBC minimum, at least 3 out of 10. And Omaha, Nebraska, we're not hitting the, we do have BSS and we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've actually gone and done the local search for the highest intent keywords for your locale, and you've seen and you've also done it for your city, and you've seen that you got at least one of those has BSS, or you see that at least one you are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google, then you're seeing this SQ methodology like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Maybe you had been thinking, how can we get more slots on page one on Google? So maybe you'd already broken through the false belief of page one equality, but now you're like, yes, SQ methodology, that's what I've been looking for. Even though you kind of didn't know what to expect or what it would look like, but you decided, yes, SQ methodology is your way to move forward. So you're like, heck yeah. And you're also understanding the like the initial benefits of it. More slots page one. The 2 initial benefits: more slots page one on Google, kick in more competing with photographers off page one, off the page two, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you understand the 2 prongs of market saturation. Getting new iPhone or getting new camera, so getting new gear, and you're looking ahead and you're saying, well, you understand AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So like, okay, that is actually going to be the biggest flood, the biggest force of more boudoir photographers into the marketplace, or people who are even those who are new to boudoir photography, going to compress margins for everyone, lower prices for everyone, going to basically force more competition, page one Google search. And so you're saying, all right, I actually need to not only get this many links on page one, you also need to fortify your position right now in preparation for all the new boudoir photographers coming into the market after AI starts taking more and more people's jobs every single day. And your CNSP methodology is also a perfect thing for that as well. It's kind of like building the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, where the city is below sea level. And so once that happens, you're like, or once you're basically seeing the future right now. So you're like, the more links, momentum you can build up to get page one links on Google, the higher chance that the new boudoir photographers never even reach page one, never even reach the links, on Google page one. And so when you, so you're seeing that, and SQ's methodology is the way forward, and you want to increase the you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need those things in order to become number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand kind of the long-term back-end benefits of successfully executing this SQ methodology every single day. And these successful benefits are, basically you're building up kind of these columns, these mindshare columns of peeps who are, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns that actually, they're kind of like invisible. They're columns attached to, like, the Parthenon in Athens are kind of like invisible columns, like hub and spoke model. So like spokes onto a hub. And these things exist kind of like as AI mindshare. So you understand the future benefits, which is actually the more we successfully execute methodology, the higher probability we're going to be sort of appear AI overview on AI search. And so that probability kind of builds and builds and builds every single day that we do successfully execute methodology. And also the same goes for backend search. Like AI search, like ChatGPT search, like we got Perplexity, Claude, we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, and you're seeing other feature benefits as we're successfully executing SQ methodology, or actually increase the probability we get listed on AI search for all those as well. So I know last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, it literally recommended 3. And I actually went to go on Google for myself to look at, okay, how many are actually going to be, are actually out here? Dude, there's like 60, like Google Maps and Google Search all combined. And so it's like, all right, we got to do something to really increase the probability that we're increasing search here, that we get on these. Because I know I don't standard Google search anything. I'm always using the Google AI overview. So I know, yeah, standard Google search is still like approximately 90% of all searches, all the search market globally. But dude, AI search getting bigger and bigger every day. So you're seeing that, and you want to actually get kind of those bonuses, those momentum of being shown in these, increase the probability gets shown in these searches. And as a result, you also understand that you decide to hop on this first because you'll be actually be able to build a ton of momentum and separate yourself from all your competitors. Because I basically my plan currently is to only work with one boudoir photographer in each city. So you're seeing you can kind of close off your competitors from using this and put a massive gap between you and them before they even know what's going on, before they even know we've put in the effort to completely dominate page one Google search. And conversely, you're seeing that, oh man, if one of your competitors actually, if one of your competitors actually hops on this first and works with me, well then you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own correctly. And when you do that, you would never be 100% confident if you did it, derived it correct or not. And what would actually happen is you'd have to equal our execution. And when you equal our execution, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor would have already built up, kind of above you or ahead of you. So you'd maintain that gap. You'd actually have to double or triple our daily output of execution of SQ methodology to close that gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare brain momentum for those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and me and back towards yourself. And so it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw that. You're going to be the number one first mover in your city. Lock the other peeps out. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My hospital is currently closed for new patient intake right now. So my DMs are currently closed. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, then Shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.